Hi, this is an email from Anna. Anna says, I need some advice. I come from a bodybuilding background where I competed for 2 years and developed severe orthorexia, and I'm short onset anorexia due to the constant calorie deficit. Prior to this, I'd never dieted in my life. 2 years into macro counting and obsession, I decided I couldn't do it anymore and tried to transition straight into intuitive eating, despite my lack of insight into my disordered eating. That escalated into full-on anorexia, which began in April of this year. I began recovering in November, and I didn't really truly start embracing full-on weight restoration and restricted eating until this past month and a half. Back in the beginning stages of recovery, I signed a contract to compete in a stage pageant where I must walk on the stage in a bikini and represent health. I realized that choosing to do this was my eating disorder, making sure I didn't lose too much control while in recovery. I realized this is bullshit. Competition is at the end of April. I refuse to let it impact my recovery, but it is in the back of my mind. My body feels pretty foreign to me most days, but I know I'm on the right track. That being said, I would love to use the opportunity as a chance to showcase my recovery body and share my story along with the message of how harmful this diet culture can be to our mental health. I'm also a mental health clinician myself. What are your thoughts on this topic? Should I continue with this pageant or should I just drop out entirely, Anna? All right, well, that's a difficult question. And also, you must have written that at the beginning of the year, and we're now, what month are we on in? We're in July, the end of it. So the pageant was in April, which means you either did it or you didn't. So who knows? It'd be really interesting to know what your decision was. I absolutely see the point and the attraction of going on and being proud of your recovery body and just kind of like, fuck you to diet culture, get it and applaud it. And that can be difficult to do really early on in recovery. So I think that sort of thing is easier to do once you're fully recovered. If you're not fully recovered, it's a bit of a gamble because it absolutely could trigger you. Having said that, you do sound as if you're very determined and that you're hell-bent on recovery. So maybe it wouldn't do. I don't know, is the answer to that question. I don't know. You know, in a sense, I really wish that beauty pageants didn't exist. I really wish that they didn't exist. I think that the idea that, okay, this is the bit that's really fucked up. You said that you were supposed to go on in a bikini and represent health. Well, that's just shows how much it's perceived that we can tell a person's state of health from looking at them, and how much it's perceived that actually a slim body is by default healthy. Because, as you know, when you were sick, you could have gone on and been like skinny and represented health, but you would know that you were not healthy physically or mentally. It's so backwards. It's so tiring. It's so boring. You know, when you think about all of the things that humans we can do with our brains and all of the things that are going on in the world that are actually really interesting. And things like beauty pageants exist, which is basically glamorizing a certain body type. It's just, it slightly makes me lose the will to live. Gotta admit, that was stinky. So also, something to bear in mind is by attending, you're sort of supporting a beauty pageant. And I know that's also, well, you can change it from within, and that may be true. It's not an industry I know anything about, I have to admit. Know nothing about it. So I'd just be interested, actually, if you're watching this, to let me know, well, what decision did you make? How did it turn up? How is your recovery going now? And also, if anybody else has more experience in this industry than I do, comment. I'd like to hear your views. Thanks.